Greetings to those of you who are watching. My name is Bernard Scott. I'm the head coordinator of this organization known as the Mid-South Interfaith Efforts. I thank you for watching our monthly interfaith conferences. Once again, returning, we have Brother Rashad Sharif from Masjid Al-Mu'minun, Memphis, Tennessee, and we have Brother Corey Payne here. Let's go ahead and get started. Last time, if you guys were watching last month, we had a response to my email question I give out to all the people on my mailing list. And this is the brother who responded to the question last month. I apologize, but the response from the email got cut off because of some technical difficulties. And basically, we're going to have you, Corey, respond to the question once again, and the brother Imam is going to respond to the question, to your answer, rather. Okay? And the question last month was pretty much, if a theist comes to you and says that my belief system is the only way and you need to follow it, and you say, well, give your proof. He gives you your proofs and it doesn't satisfy you. And he basically says, well, what more proof do you need what would it take for you to believe in my belief system? So what would you respond? What was your response last month?
My response last month, there are basically two effective ways of swaying people. Personal experience is by far the most effective.
Okay.
And whenever it was actually talked down upon last month, it was talked about as if I was being selfish and I was asking God to act the way I want him to act, and not for him to come in life, but not being a humble recipient of God's grace, or however you want to put it.
Okay.
It was put forth like I was being selfish. That's not when I actually said I would like a personalized experience. I would just say God knows me. God knows what was most effective for my personality. He knows that I'm a very skeptical person. So a series of coincidences, like all green lights on the way to work,
okay,
or just having a really good day, that would not work for me because I could just pass that off as like, yeah, just had a really good day. But there's no mistaking a burning bush. There's no mistaking parting of the Red Sea. You know something weird is happening. But if you're going to say that God is working in your life and He's using these various coincidences that you're labeling as God,
right,
then I can point to someone who won the lottery. It's like, well, why aren't they praising God for that? Because they had a huge, huge amount of fortune in their favor.
okay.
So you need something else. So when I actually said a personalized experience, that's what I was talking about. And it doesn't have to be like probe my mind, but something that will be unmistakable.
Okay.
And the other thing, like if it's not going to be from God, if it has to be like from a person explaining things, what I actually meant to say was, I would expect people, if their God is truly the source of objective morality, then I would expect, if they're actually following those belief systems, then I would expect them to behave in a better fashion. Because if God actually designed us and created us, then He would know for the best way for us to live.
Okay.
So I would expect if they have access to that kind of knowledge, if they are a conduit through which God is using them and giving His beliefs, or not, God through them giving like the best ways to live, because God would know.
Right.
I would expect them to behave better. I would expect them, because they have access to this knowledge. And there are many different religions that claim the absolute truth.
Right.
But if one of them is right, then you would expect them to, if they actually have the absolute truth, you would expect some demonstrable results that would actually show them to be better in some demonstrable fashion.
Okay.
So, like, an example, the Scientologists.
Okay.
They say they have the one truth, but many of their beliefs are basically just hooey. And we can actually, and Mormons, many of their beliefs is we can actually, by archaeology, we can actually show that this is just not true.
Okay.
It's demonstrably not true. And you're expecting us to believe a lot, and so many of their belief systems hinges upon sayings of Jesus coming to America, and we just know this just didn't happen.
Right.
So those kind of things just lead me to think that those aren't correct, and it leads me to think that their absolute truth is incorrect as well.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to claim absolute truth, I would expect them to be able to show me ways that is helping them in some way.
Okay.
So those are the two things. A personal experience that will be unmistakable.
Okay.
I don't think it's asking much. It happened. There's people who wrestled with God.
Okay.
There's people in the Bible. I'm not too familiar with the Quran, but I know Muhammad flew on a horse, so that'd be kind of cool too. But there's some type of experience that I could just say, you know what, that's an absolute miracle. That's not that one kid who survived a plane crash. That type of thing.
Okay.
That's like something that happened to me that I can't explain any other way it's impossible to explain. It defies everything that I know of the world.
Okay.
So, because if there is a God, and if He is the divine artificer of everything in the world, then He can stop the natural laws in my favor.
Okay.
So something that does that.
Okay.
And the other one was just demonstrate me in some way that you behave better, or your group of people behaves better, because I would expect you to have some sort of better way of living, because your source of knowledge comes from an absolute being.
Okay. Now, I should have established this before we started. Now, your belief system,
Secular humanist.
secular humanist. Please explain to the audience what that is.
A secular humanist pretty much is you don't exactly need a divine being to live your life. It is up to the individual to decide your morals, but we look out for each other.
Okay.
That's basically what it works out as. There's not one type of secular humanist, but pretty much basically what ties all secular humanists together is we don't actually use a divine being to guide our morality. We decide for ourselves. And me personally, I am basically utilitarian.
Okay.
Whatever causes the most harm in the long term is usually what I would call immoral, and what causes the least amount of harm in the long term, because something that causes a small amount of harm in the short term can actually be good for you. I hate eating vegetables, but it's disgusting. I hate eating broccoli, but it's good for me in the long term, so I do it.
Okay.
So whatever is good for me in the long term, that's moral. I'm not the aesthetics of using taste was a bad example, but
Okay. Well, we understand where you come from, though.
yeah, but it's that's where I'm coming from. I have a utilitarian humanist, pretty much.
Okay. Okay.
It's not about absolute morality. It's about what we can actually what can help the most people.
Right.
Because you can never satisfy everybody.
Of course not.
It's unattainable goal.
Okay. Brother, ma'am, your comments?
My comments. Okay.
If you want to elaborate on
Sure.
those.
First of all, I have to say, since I don't know how this is going to come out,
Okay.
I got to say that this is kind of weird for me. Okay?
How's that?
Because I gave an answer
Mm-hmm.
last month,
Okay.
responding to the quotation that was read to me,
Okay.
trying to picture the person
Okay.
and give a response.
Okay.
That's one thing. Number two, I didn't watch the replay all the way in to see where it got cut off last. So I don't know how much I said, okay?
Mhm.
But now that I've heard the discussion, I remember which question we're talking about.
Okay.
And then it's extra weird because the person is right here. So which voice should I talk about? The person, or turn to him, or turn to you, or whatever, okay? So this is last month I had no idea. I would be sitting right next to the person
Right.
that I was addressing in the abstract.
Okay.
So it's much more human and personal right here.
Okay.
But as I recall, I was saying that I got the vibe from the question as it was worded,
Okay.
that